what I want to do is create a brand new document. So we're going to simply copy this shape. And we're going to go and create a new document so we can just focus on the leather strap. So let's go to Edit, Copy. Let's go to File, New. And by the way, I do this a lot. I like to work separately when I'm working on something like this, especially with the 3D components, because the 3D itself can be rather taxing to your computer. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to lock this and create a new layer and call it Leather 1. These straps will be in front of the handle, and then we're going to draw straps or pieces of straps behind it to give the illusion that they're actually wrapping around. And we're doing this now so we can just add a little bit more personality and some dimension to our artwork. So I'm going to grab my swatches and just tear those off for now and put them down here. And what I want to do is get rid of these guys. I don't need you. And I have my stroke. I'm going to change this to a dark color. And I'm going to grab my pen. And I'm simply going to draw some straps around here. So I'm going to click on the edge of this shape. And I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to pull. Now, I know the straps are going to be a little crooked. I want them to be crooked because it looks a little bit older that way instead of it being so perfect. This is a legendary weapon, and I don't want it to be flawless, so I want the leather to have actually little gaps in it and that kind of stuff, like a mummy wrapping. So that's going to be my first strap, like this. And then what I'm going to do is hit X on the keyboard and just give this guy a fill color of a lighter brown. And don't worry, by the time we're done, we're going to add some gradients. We're going to just really make it look great. For now, as always, simple. I'm going to get rid of my fill again. And I'm going to come up here and do the same thing. I'm going to go in a slightly different direction. I'm going to go down, click, click, and I'm going to click here. I'm going to drag, and I'm going to click and close that shape. And once again, I'll fill it in. I'll grab my eyedropper tool and click on this guy here to give it the same color. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. This time I'm going to overlap a little bit. I'm going to go in the shape here and here, just so I can start to get some gaps in the leather itself. And click here and do this kind of thing so we can have a little bit of an overlap. And then you see the effect I'm going for. I don't want this to look like, it was wielded yesterday. And I want it to look like it was in a lake, and the lady of the lake threw it at me and said, hey, go out in the world and, help people. So I'm going to click on this and slowly but surely build these leather straps. You'll also notice that sometimes I will keep the fill off, sometimes I'll have it on. It just depends on how proficient you are with the application and how comfortable you are with doing things. As you see, I'm tweaking things as I go along because I'm just laying down pieces of leather as I go and looking at the position of the actual 3D mesh and just pulling out the artwork so that it looks like it actually is wrapping around the handle here, or the grip, just a little bit more precisely. Once we're done drawing these strips, we're going to copy them and paste them back into the other document. The reason we're actually in a separate document once again is simply because with all those 3D objects, it's going to continually update and it's going to slow you down when you're working sometimes. So it's best to just take different pieces of your artwork, go into a new document, focus on what you want to achieve, and then go back to that other document and paste it. Or save this document separately, call it leather straps. You can always have this to come back to. And I'm going to put, let's see here, one more down here. I'm going to have a little bit of a gap there. So I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. As you notice, when we started this document, it didn't look very good at all. I mean, it still doesn't look great because that's the part of the magic of Illustrator and these other applications. Even when you're working in a 3D application, everything looks pretty horrible at first, until you start adding the textures and the lighting. It's just like, a slow evolution of the pieces of the artwork until they start to come together. So this is the leather, and I'm happy with that. I just want to add one more piece at the bottom here. Let me see what I'm going to do. I'll click right there, and I'm going to close this up and just have a little strip at the bottom because I don't want that handle part to be exposed like that. So I'm going to just draw this little bow kind of shape. And that's the first part of our leather. What we're going to do next is we're going to come back in and do the stitching for the leather and the gradients so that it looks like it has some dimensionality to it. So just go ahead and continue to tweak the leather add as many straps as you want to, or if you want to have it going straight across, that's cool too. Once again, all this is just for you guys to see how I work and maybe come up with some techniques of your own. And in the next part, we're going to go ahead and do the actual stitching that goes into the leather to make it look a little bit more detailed.